Chapter 1. It was a simple time. Massive trees peppered the entire valley, standing head and shoulders above the shrubs and grass that grew freely on the ground. Yet, the lush greenery was nowhere in sight. A blanket of powdery snow had spread all across, a pristine whiteness stretching as far as the eye could see. As the sun peered from above the cottony clouds, the light shimmered on the surface, and dazzling sparks danced in the light, illuminating the world into a brilliance of brightness. With all this much snow, a remarkable sense of frost devoured the atmosphere, carrying with it a chill so great it pierced one's skin with the sharpness of 1,000 daggers. Amidst the undergrowth, there was hardly any movement. If one looks closely, one may spy the massive form of an Irish elk in the distance. It raises its head high, strutting with care between the trees. If any of its majestic antlers were to get caught in the branches, it would spell quite a bit of trouble. Now, let's strain our ears a bit and listen. A series of muffled grunts lingers in the air. That's the sound we're looking for. We follow it, edging closer and closer to the source. Finally, we stop by a cave. From the outside, it's nothing special. A couple of shrubs rest in front, giving the dull brownish outer walls a speck of color. As the afternoon sun hangs loftily atop, streams of sunlight dodge and weave through the dense foliage and streak into the gaping mouth of the cave. It is thanks to these veiling rays that we can see what's inside. And from this, we get to witness something special. The birth of a Neanderthal. A female, the mother, is trying her best to give birth. Her abdominal muscles tighten and relax. Her chest heaves up and down, and beads of cold sweat drip down her brow. An excruciating sense of pain courses throughout her entire being. She gasps for air, and wails of agony escape her mouth with each heavy breath. A tribe of Neanderthals fidget nervously nearby. Among them is the father. He looks rather similar to those Neanderthalian reconstructions we see today. Long, black flowing hair frames his broad nose and an even broader forehead. He has it all. A dark, gaping scar drags straight across his back. No doubt a trophy won from a savage fight. On his head rests a pair of turquoise eyes. Under normal circumstances, those eyes would be full of life, glistening like pieces of beautifully polished emeralds. Yet, on that day, they are burdened with worry. He looks at the mother. He feels helpless. What to do? He has no answer. No one has. He thinks of the freezing cold and props himself at the cave entrance, acting as a shield for the mother. The unforgiving gale digs deep into his torso, yet he doesn't budge. The others join in. Every little bit helps. It would be nice to have some warmth in here, he thinks sadly. He glances at the smoldering pile of wood by the side. It was a fire procured a few days ago. He had stumbled upon it in a thunderstorm. A wicked bolt of lightning had struck a gathering of dead branches and set it alight. He witnessed it happening and hastily carried the flame to the cave before it was extinguished by a torrent of rain. Just last night, it was burning ferociously, gobbling up the reserve of fuel the tribe has gathered to keep it alive. Yet, the fuel had run out, and the members that went off to procure dry wood hadn't returned still. The fire was now a shadow of its former self. It lay dormant, giving off just hapless puffs here and there. In front of the harsh winter, it could do nothing. By this time, the baby was almost out. His head was already out of the womb, with eyes closed shut. Another female Neanderthal supported the head, tenderly pulling on it to ease the rest of the body out. His eyelids twitched sporadically, as if he was peeved to be awoken from his slumber. The torso was the next to come. It was not as effort-taking as the head, but it was still no easy task. The mother's strength was waning. Her consciousness kept fading and flickering back to life, and a heavy drowsiness invaded her mind. But she knew that she couldn't go to sleep. Not yet. The finish line was in sight, and she was determined to see it through. As such, she kept going on. Clinging onto the edges of her consciousness, she pushed and pushed. Soon, even the torso came out, and with some more effort, the legs followed. Then finally, the feet as well. It was done. Enshli was born. The day is saved. Or is it? The father looked on. He saw his son, who had started a series of whimpers. But something felt off. Something was wrong. His son lay in a pool of blood, and the pool just kept spreading. The crimson colors seeped into the ground, dyeing it a sickening sense of red. Will it stop? Will it cease? He grabbed a bunch of medicinal herbs stockpiled in the corner. Gingerly, he handed it to the mother. She gave it a glimpse and weakly gestured to put it back. Time was running out. The iciness grew even stronger. She pointed at Enshli. With tearful eyes, the father crouched down and picked him up, carefully resting the frail baby upon his rugged hands. Then he placed it on the mother's chest. A smile formed on her face. It was a simple smile, but with just one look can one feel the overwhelming amount of bliss and tenderness emanating from it. She struggled to form a sound around her trembling lips. Enshli stopped his whimpers and opened his eyes for the first time. Yet the outside world was too much for him to handle, so he slammed them shut instantly. But in that short interval, his mother's figure floated in his mind. With a sigh, she reached forward to caress him. "It's cold," she thought. "Let me warm you up." With the last of her efforts, she wrapped her arms around him, shielding him from the frigid frost, just as his father had done for her. Bathed in warmth, Enshli drifted back to dreamland. And there they were, mother and son, a tale as old as time. Soon, the warmth started to dissipate, and the mother's body lay silently still. The smile remained, and it was with this smile that she left this world. Growing up, Enshli would not remember this. It's normal. No one remembers their moment of birth. But in the coldest days of winter, when a flickering flame sends him a sudden gust of mild warmth, his body feels at ease. He feels comfort, and his worries are washed away, just like what one feels when locked in a mother's loving embrace.